Hello, my dears. I get a lot of questions asking about how to enjoy being alone, and I'd say one of the first steps of enjoy being alone is by being alone. And I don't just mean that in the sense of being not surrounded by other people. I mean it in the sense of not being surrounded by music or movies or background noise. I think it's really easy for us to constantly not be alone. It seems as though we are now in a world of where there's so much entertainment, so much distraction, so much stimulus. We are more so accompanied by something rather than alone. With that being said, in order for us to start enjoy being alone, we have to take a little bit more control of the stimulus that is put onto us. It is up to us. Take that control back of this is my time. So what does me time look like? I remember this one specific session that I had with my therapist. She asked me, "Do you ever just sit?" I jokingly replied, "For what?" Like, what's the purpose of that? It didn't seem productive to me. It seemed like as if it was a waste of time by just sitting in a room doing nothing. And she was like, "Yeah, just like, do you ever just sit?" And I tried to replay my lifestyle in my head, and I asked, with no music, with no noise, with no TV in the background, and she said, "No, just with nothing." I responded with, "No, I guess I don't." And some part of my competitive nature thought that the next time that I come to a session, I am going to say that I sat. I pretty much assigned myself homework, and when I went home somewhere throughout that week, I set a timer for 10 minutes on my phone, put it face down, and just sat on my couch. And my competitive nature got even a little bit more fired up because I was uncomfortable. I felt uncomfortable and I felt awkward and I felt as though I was not valuable enough. I needed to be producing something or creating something or learning something. It just felt wrong for me to just be. After being really confused as to why I couldn't sit still for 10 minutes without thinking that I am doing something wrong, as time passed and I continued to do this practice, I shifted my thought process from I need to be doing more to what's going on right now. There was a point in time where I was pretty addicted to music. I loved listening to music. I loved using it as the soundtrack of my life. I loved being able to paint the mood and the picture of my whole existence. I thought, and still do, think it is a very useful tool in romanticizing my life. However, I didn't just experience life as it was, rather than what I could manipulate it to be. Therefore, I think that I used music as a distraction. Don't get me wrong, I love it and all, but there's a balance to everything. With introducing silence into my routine, I was able to have a healthier relationship with music. Now, my relationship with silence is that it is my haven. It is my safe space. It is a place of where I can escape the world and check back in with myself. Questions or thoughts that will pop up while I am just observing silence are things that I believe that need to be addressed. But with the waking mind and the working mind, it is really easy to just push those thoughts to the back burner because there are some things to do. But this part of silence felt like I was speaking with a friend. It felt as though I could jump into this space of where I will be heard because I am hearing myself now. The noises are gone, the music is gone. Every entertaining distraction has no say in what my thoughts are right now. This is me having a full conversation with my subconscious. And I'd say that we should have conversations with our subconscious. It's so important for us to know ourselves to that degree of where we don't just know the external versions of ourselves. This is to the point of where we know ourselves to our core. I wasn't able to tap into this core version of myself until I was able to sit in silence, and then she was able to come out. So I don't know if I should title this video Befriending Your Core Self or Befriending Silence, but I think they go hand in hand. Journaling is also a form of practicing silence, but you just have evidence of it. You just have a transcription of it. But sometimes journaling can be hard. Sometimes we don't want to pick up that pen and open up that book and write things down. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't confront things within ourselves that are begging to be confronted. With other external stimulus, it's easy for us to forget that we have some things to ask ourselves. There are questions inside of us floating about, and they would like answers. The only person that can provide those answers is not music, it is you. It's not your other friends, it is you. It is not the background noise, it is you. Once I started to answer those questions, just one by one, I started to really, really like being alone. I started to love the silence. I started to love finding peace within it. Honestly, I guess I found myself in the silence. I've noticed that whenever we try to drown ourselves in the noise, more often than not, we're trying to run away from something. So, how to start enjoy being with yourself is to stop running away from yourself. Sit with yourself. I do believe that sitting in silence is how you can sit with yourself. I remember the first time that I had a successful silent session. I closed my eyes and I asked myself the question, who are you? And the voice inside of myself would respond with, you're a student, you go to this school, you live in this city. A bigger voice inside of me, which I think was my core voice, said, that isn't who you are. Those are things that you do. So I'm going to ask you again, who are you? And it just went on from there. That was probably one of my first confrontational conversations with myself in silence, and I became less scared of that voice. That voice isn't here to attack me. That voice isn't here to say, gotcha, like you don't know yourself. That voice is there as a guiding angel. It is there to help yourself. You're not there to be mean to yourself. If that voice is mean, you also have another voice to say back, why do I think that way? Why do I think those thoughts about myself? That's all I have to say today about befriending silence and being a friend to yourself. Please leave me more topics to talk about in the comments below. I love receiving all of your comments. And yeah. I wish you a side of strawberries with your next meal and new toothpaste if you ran out. Alright. Thank you so much, my romantics, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.